You've probably restarted your YouTube channel more than once. New logo, new plan, new this time I'm actually going to be consistent. Then week 4 hits, the views don't move, and the whole thing quietly dies again. Sound familiar? Here's the part nobody tells you. This isn't a discipline problem. It's a cash flow problem, wearing a content calendar as a disguise. Think about any real business. You spend money before you make money. Inventory, rent, staff, and you survive that gap because you planned for it. You knew, going in, that the first few months would look ugly on paper. YouTube works the same way, except the currency isn't cash, it's time and attention. And almost nobody budgets for the gap because nobody frames it as a business problem in the first place. Roughly 90% of YouTube channels go dark within 6 months of starting. Not because the people running them lack talent, because the payoff structure is brutal. You're expected to invest dozens of hours writing, filming, and editing before the platform gives you anything back. No subscribers, no views, no algorithmic trust, just output, with silence in return. That silence is the actual cost of starting a channel, and it's a cost almost nobody accounts for. Meanwhile, research on full-time creators has found burnout affecting well over half of them, and financial instability, not laziness, is the factor creators themselves rank as the single biggest driver. When there's no revenue and no growth, every upload starts to feel less like progress and more like a bet you keep losing. Here's Alex. Alex posts a video. 3 days later, 12 views. Alex posts another, 9 views. On paper, this looks like failure. It feels like failure. But in reality, this is what almost every channel's first few months actually looks like, an investment period with almost no visible return, no matter how good the content is. The algorithm doesn't reward effort. It rewards accumulated data, watch time patterns, click-through history, audience retention it can use to predict who's going to want your next video. That data only builds through repetition, video after video, week after week. Miss a few weeks because the numbers felt discouraging, and the algorithm doesn't just pause on you, it starts forgetting you exist, and you're effectively starting over from zero trust. This is exactly where most creators quit, right before the data would have started compounding in their favor. It's the same mistake as pulling money out of an investment the week before it turns a corner, because the first several statements only showed red and nobody warned you that red was normal. So what actually keeps people consistent long enough to get through that window? Not motivation. Motivation runs out by video 3, sometimes sooner. It's structure. Creators who last treat content like a business with a runway. They expect the first 3 to 6 months to look like a loss on paper, the same way a new restaurant expects to lose money before it builds a customer base. They batch work in advance, so one bad week or one discouraging metric doesn't break the whole streak. And they measure success by output. Did I ship the video I planned to ship? Not by numbers they can't fully control yet. Look at how survival changes by channel size. Smaller channels survive at a much lower rate than mid-sized ones, and mid-sized channels survive at a lower rate than the largest ones. That jump isn't talent suddenly appearing at scale. It's that those creators pushed through the exact window where everyone else gives up, long enough for the algorithm's data to start working in their favor instead of against them. The uncomfortable truth is this. Staying consistent on YouTube isn't really about YouTube. It's about whether you can tolerate spending real time and energy with zero proof it's working yet. The same tolerance that separates investors who build wealth over decades from investors who panic sell at the bottom of a downturn because the losses on paper felt unbearable. If you're a few months in with nothing to show for it, that's not evidence you're failing. That's statistically just what the early period looks like for almost everyone who eventually made it, including channels you already watch and assume were successful from day one. The channels that survive aren't the ones with the best ideas or the most talent. They're the ones who kept showing up through the part where nothing seemed to be happening, because that part was never actually nothing. It was the only way the data could ever start to compound. And maybe that's the part you needed to hear. You don't need to know that your next video will work. You just need to be willing to make the next one. Because on YouTube, the results often come after the repetition, not before it. So if you're still in the quiet part, keep going. The numbers may not be telling your story yet, but you're still writing it.